Hello, everybody. Tonight we're going to be talking about adrenal fatigue and brain fog. I'm Dr. Lisa Gordon, and I am the owner and doctor at the Natural Health Improvement Center of Columbia, Maryland. I've been a chiropractor for almost 4 years. I graduated from chiropractic school in April of 1987 from Logan College of Chiropractic, which is now called Logan University. And through my career, I have added wonderful techniques. I always wondered why people weren't getting better and what was happening in their environment and that kind of thing. And with chiropractic, of course, people got a lot better. And I also noticed that the food that they were eating might be causing them to not be as well. And our food in our country is really not great. And so I wanted to help educate people, and I wanted to learn how to tell exactly what was going on in each person's body so that I could help each individual get well. And my own personal story was that I have hypothyroidism. So it's very common in my family, and I must have both inherited the gene and had enough stress in my life to manifest a thyroid gland that wasn't functioning well enough to make me feel well. And I found that out when I was trying to get pregnant, and I was exhausted and I wasn't feeling well at all. And it wasn't until much, much later that, although I did get on thyroid medication and started feeling much better, I didn't realize that it was actually my adrenal glands that needed to be fed and handled and nurtured before my thyroid could really get better. So tonight we're going to be talking about adrenal fatigue and brain fog. And what I'd like to teach you is some things to help you to feel clearer headed and more rested and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to dive right in. I want to tell you that adrenal fatigue and brain fog can severely impact a person's life and overall health. And getting to the root cause of your symptoms is the only way to truly overcome these issues. So what are the adrenal glands? The adrenal glands are little tiny organs or glands that sit right above the kidneys in the body. So they're in the back of the body. They're kind of behind the lungs, behind the rib cage, or within the rib cage, but toward the back and above the kidneys. The adrenal glands do a lot of things, and one of the things they do is that they supply us with the hormones that we need to handle stress. So if our bodies are too stressed and our minds and our lives are too stressed, it takes a toll on our adrenal glands, and we can end up with symptoms of exhaustion. We can end up with symptoms of fight or flight, anxiety, trouble falling asleep or waking up. We can have salt and sugar cravings. We can need caffeine to get through the day. In other words, we're really tired. Headaches, weakness, lightheadedness, and low blood pressure are often symptoms of an adrenal dysfunction to some degree. So adrenal fatigue is what it's commonly called in our culture. You can have a loss of appetite or you can crave foods. Unexplained weight loss can happen when it's very severe. But when we have ongoing stress in our lives, we tend to put weight on in our bellies. And that is a symptom in many, many cases of long-term adrenal stress. Hair loss can be a symptom, excessive sweating, intense pain in the lower back, legs, or abdomen. That can be a symptom of very severe stress in the adrenal glands. And most people would notice before that they're really tired. And hopefully they would go to a natural health care provider and get some good care. What happens when we go to a medical practitioner is that they're very, very good at handling acute issues. And sometimes they don't really have what we need for chronic issues. An adrenal fatigue and adrenal exhaustion can really be a chronic issue, and it deserves a longer term nutritional support rather than just a symptomatic solution, which can sometimes actually make the problem worse. A lot of times people are given prescriptions for steroids, and that's a real recipe for disaster, because what our adrenal glands supply us with is hormones that are actually like steroids. So when we have too little steroid, you can imagine we're very tired, but when we have too much, we can be hyper. And for any of you who've taken steroids for pain or steroids for asthma, you know that sometimes you can get very, very hyper and irritable. So all of those kinds of things can happen with adrenal dysfunction. So let's call it adrenal dysfunction. Dehydration can occur, digestive issues can occur like diarrhea, vomiting. When it's very, very severe, there can even be loss of consciousness. Those are emergencies. Those are people who really do need to have a medical intervention. And then they should go to a natural health care provider, as I am, and get some healing so that they can get back to healthy. Irregular menstruation can often happen with adrenal dysfunction. And just the real fatigue, but there's also this feeling of wired and tired. So you could just be wired and go, 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 and then exhausted. All of those are really indications that there's some nutritional deficiency or some organ dysfunction. And within my practice, or if you're out of town, I do some virtual visits, so I can see people who are out of town. I can do virtual care in many cases. So if you know someone who's out of town who can't find someone who does nutrition response testing local to them, they can call me and we can do some work with them. So when the adrenal glands are unable to keep pace with the demands of ongoing fight or flight arousal, they can't produce quite enough of the hormones that you need to feel well. So conventional medical practitioners really, as I said, prescribe steroids, which don't correct the underlying organ dysfunction, and they really bring along another list of bad side effects, which I've gone over already. But giving the body the nutrition it needs to overcome the adrenal dysfunction is the priority. So focusing on improving nutrition and decreasing stress helps as well. So what kind of diet is good for someone who wants to have healthy adrenal glands or to heal from adrenal dysfunction? A high protein diet is recommended with incorporated fresh food, fruit, vegetables, elimination of sugary and processed foods, and limited or no consumption of alcohol and caffeine. Reducing stress is very important. So incorporating meditation, deep breathing exercises, unplugging from electronic devices, and regular exercise will all help with adrenal fatigue. Now, regarding exercise, if somebody has a lot of adrenal stress, they should not go out and start training for a marathon. What they should do instead is yoga, quiet exercise, light weightlifting, more of what we do when we're stressed, and that should be quieter. So you should not be going out and running and doing heavy weightlifting because that's going to put more stress on your adrenals. Probably you'll be able to get to that if you want to, but in the meantime, get out and get some fresh air, walk, enjoy the nature. You could do a light jog, but don't wear yourself out. So the idea is don't wear yourself out, whether it's with too much exercise, too vigorous exercise, not enough sleep, sugary foods, alcohol, too much caffeine. I think you might be getting the idea that these are things that cause more stress, and you don't want to cause more stress. So meditating, your relationships, you should work on your relationships so that you have less stress in your relationships. Figure out ways to talk to each other in loving ways. And if you need counseling, you can get counseling to learn skills about how to have good relationships. There are apps that you can use for meditation. Some of them are called Headspace, the mindfulness app, Calm. etc. Now, what about brain fog? That is a symptom of another underlying issue. It's very rare that brain fog happens by itself. Everyone experiences the occasional confusion or forgetfulness, but when it comes to a chronic issue, action needs to be taken. What are some symptoms of brain fog? Constant confusion, disorganization, disorientation, feeling scattered, a diminished ability to react or overreacting, difficulty thinking or expressing thoughts, loss of attention, memory lapses, slower decision making, forgetfulness, fatigue and irritability, and low energy. Well, doesn't that sound a little bit like our adrenal list? So the solution for brain fog is similar to the solution for adrenal fatigue or adrenal dysfunction. The priority is getting your body the proper nutrition it needs to overcome the underlying inflammation causing the symptoms in the first place. Inflammation is often the reason for dysfunction in organs and for nutritional deficiency. So a balanced diet, regular exercise, in our case, what we want to do is mild, calming exercise. So a regular exercise schedule. So you want to move, you could dance, you could do anything that really feels nurturing to you. Quality sleep and stress reduction practices are very important to overcoming brain fog. Removing foods like gluten, wheat, dairy, yeast, fried foods, sugar, sometimes lectins and nightshades can help lower your current inflammation. And these kinds of things are not exactly the same for everybody. So in our practice, we find out exactly what some people can eat and what other people can't, and what you need exactly. So are you the person who needs a really good vitamin C? Do you need more fats in your diet? Do you need a good fat supplement like what we use is a lot of times a tuna supplement or a cod liver supplement, those kinds of things. And they're not awful. If you remember back when you were a kid and you were forced to have some awful tasting fishy stuff, we don't use that. We have something that actually tastes much better than that. So sometimes people need specific adrenal supplements that are specific for the person. And it's not enough to go on Google and try to find out exactly what you need, because you won't do that. You'll actually just be trying to figure out what will help a symptom or another symptom. And that's not getting to the bottom of the problem. So in my practice, I figure out exactly what each individual person needs. There's nothing cookbook about it. It's really individualized. So, for instance, to go back to my story, I was taking thyroid supplements, thinking the problem was in the thyroid because that's what showed up on my blood tests. What I didn't realize was that there was an underlying problem with my adrenal glands. And so through a lifetime of stress, I've had varieties of stress in my own life. I had caused my adrenals to be less than properly functional. And then what happened after that was that other parts of my endocrine system showed up as dysfunctional. So in my case, my thyroid actually showed up on the lab tests as the thing that needed the support. So did the medication make me feel better? Kind of, it did. And once I got on a natural thyroid supplement, it helped me even more. But somehow my need for thyroid medication kept going up and up and up. And it wasn't until I myself got treated by a nutrition response testing practitioner that I found out that my adrenal glands really needed some support. And interestingly enough, after my adrenal glands started getting the support they needed, after months and even a year and 2 years, my thyroid medication needs actually started going down. So I want to find out what's actually happening in your body. If you're tired, if you're just feeling like you're not well, please call me at 410-717-6610. That's the cell phone for the office. Or the landline for the office is 667-240-2923. Now, because of COVID, we are not working a full-time schedule. So feel free to use the office line first, the 667-240-2923. And if you can't reach us there, do try the 410-717-6610, and you'll get in touch with us a little faster. So I'd love to have a free phone consultation with you or with anybody that you're concerned about and see if this practice might be a good fit so we can find out how you can be really healthy so you won't miss work, so you won't be irritated with your family, so that you can do what you want to do in your life. It's a lot less expensive to get well than to be sick later in your life. So please give me a call. I would love to have a conversation with you. And don't worry, there's no obligation whatsoever. The free phone consultations are exactly that. If it's a good fit, we'll take the next step. And if it isn't, that's perfectly fine. If I can help you find another practitioner that might be better for you, or if you're exactly right for this practice and I'm exactly the right doctor for you, we'll figure that out. So I'm Dr. Lisa Gordon at the Natural Health Improvement Center of Columbia, Maryland. It's been delightful hanging out with you, and say hi in the chat below, either now or later. And please feel free to share this with people. I'd love to spread the word that people can be well. Take care. Bye-bye.